Will Rich with Stockmate here. Hopefully, you're having a great day today. We're going to go over KULR stock and analyze some of the recent moves that the stock has taken. If you're not familiar with the company, they have various Department of Defense, Navy, Army contracts, and they also are anticipating to launch some batteries into space in the upcoming SpaceX rideshare mission in 2026. They're also right there working with Lockheed Martin and other space companies. So this is space tech. Let's get into it. This has been quite the stock to analyze over the past few weeks because look at this sell off. And this is quite interesting. It's almost like looking at Big Bear AI. You guys see this pattern right here? Before I even get into this pattern, there's a couple things to consider. The first thing is the fundamentals of this company looked good. And we're going to go over three things. We're going to go over these technicals. We're going to go over the fundamentals, the news, right? But we'll also go over some of the financials. Now, when we look at KULR stock, you could first kind of look at this and say, oh, that kind of looks like that one stock, Big Bear AI. So see this pattern? I want you to hold it in your mind. You see this pattern, how it looks? I want you to now look at Big Bear AI, which is, do you guys see it? BBAI. It's somewhere around here. BBAI. There it is. Okay. BBAI. So this looks similar to what it looked like right here. This, if you don't account for everything that's to the right of BBAI, so all this stuff, but back here in December, and you say, this is where KULR stock looks like it is right now. Now, I'm not saying it's going to repeat and do the exact same thing that Big Bear AI has done, but the reason that that's important is because a lot of people were looking at Big Bear AI right here, and they were saying this is going to just sell off. It's a pump and dump. And I get it. That's a normal thing to say, especially when you look at the history of this Big Bear AI stock. Usually it's pumped up once and it's sold off once. And then you can see again on this pump, it pumped up basically once, one big pump, and it sold off once and continues to sell off. So when we look at it right now, when we were looking at it at this time, a lot of people were saying it's just going to sell off. The difference with this one was that the fundamentals that were going into the company, let me get the chart right. The fundamentals that were going in the company were looking more positive than any of the previous pumps. So we were hoping to see a pattern develop. So we did see this pattern start to develop here on Big Bear AI. And that's something that's important to see with any stock, is that it is looking healthy. So right now it actually looks fairly healthy when you look at this trend line that's being developed. And now that's kind of what we'd hope to see out of KULR stock, because KULR stock is in that early stage. We see if we just remove all the drawings here, it pushed up from what was down here a low of 27 cents just back in November to a high in the start or end of December of $5.49. So after that, we've seen it sell off. It hasn't done that recovery that let me just erase all these drawings really quick. Delete all drawings. And let's look here. Okay, so from here, this trend now is what we're seeing. And so it kind of looks like that Big Bear AI saying, look, if the fundamentals are good enough with this company, and there's actually a lot of investor sentiment that is positive, then we could potentially see it bounce at this point right now and see it continue a healthy upward direction. Now, it's looking bearish at this moment. There's a few reasons why. First reason why we could look at is this sell-off. See how it's staying below that blue line? That's our exponential moving average, the EMA. It's getting rejected. When it's bullish, it's oftentimes that EMA, that blue line, will act as a support. It's acting as a resistance right now. See how it's struggling to push up? That is something you look at when you're in a bearish trend. Now, also right here, the moving average, or the not the exponential moving average, the regular moving average. This moving average is something that also will indicate overall direction, and we see that it crossed below that green line, that moving average, and now it's staying below that green line. So we'd like to see it push up above not only the exponential moving average, but also that simple moving average. The RSI, the MACD look oversold at this point, which would indicate a buy. The reason I say that it's not a buy is because it's still consolidating and we haven't seen continuation up. I know a lot of you long-term investors see this as a great time to purchase right now. Some of you guys that are in the short term that have been riding some of this volatility are probably feeling quite discouraged unless you've been able to play these swings in a way that hasn't exposed you to some of the losses that would be seen in the past few days. So let's take a look. KULR stock again, if it bounces right now, it's actually not in the perfect spot. See how this is a consolidation period. It's possible it'll continue to sell off down to $2 or $2.10 or so before continuing up, because it does, even if I draw this trend, if I'm drawing it to stay in line with previous levels, it actually could sell all the way down to $2 before continuing up. But the thing is, it's already looking bearish. So we really would want to see that confirmation, because it's not indicating right now. It's like a stock has a higher likelihood to continue in the direction that it's going than it does to reverse direction. So right now, it's more likely it'll sell off. We're just looking for that break above the EMA, potentially looking at seeing some more confirmation, maybe breaking above this previous resistance or support at $2.75 would give us basically better confirmation that it's going to potentially have a more healthy pattern on the way up. Now, KULR stock has some partnerships with, you got Parazero, which is drone companies. They're in AI. They are in basically space industries. You can see they work with NASA. They have contracts with NASA, Molisol, Lockheed Martin, Department of Transportation. There was an Army contract, Navy contract. They're building out thermal management. They have these carbon fiber makeups, carbon composite makeups that allow batteries, lithium-ion batteries, to be tremendously resistant to extreme temperatures because of the thermal conductivity of the materials that they're developing. So they've created some battery technology that is extremely efficient. They're right in Texas, next to a lot of their neighboring companies that they work with, which is a good sign that they're right there in the industry. One other variable with KULR stock that could be seen as positive in the event that the US dollar continues to lose its value, which it has been historically over the past 10 years as in relation to Bitcoin. And so if it continues to lose value as it has to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin continues to become a world store of value, even acknowledged by the Federal Reserve as quote unquote digital gold by Jerome Powell, this is something that would see long term. This is a better investment or better move for the company. That move that is buying 90% of their surplus cash, converting it to Bitcoin, as opposed to holding it in cash. That's what they've been doing. You can see the company committed up to 90% of its surplus cash reserves to be held in Bitcoin. This is directly from the website source. That's actually increasing their purchases of Bitcoin to $42 million. So that's at 98,000 average price. If we look at Bitcoin today, let's drop into the chart really quick. Let's just take a look at Bitcoin, how it's doing. It's at 94,000, so they purchased right here, okay? And Bitcoin has been consolidating. It is not bearish at this moment. You could see quite clearly this support level that it's been validating. It's been getting widespread adoption. There is a few levels of resistance. That's one level. So right now it's looking like 100,000 is the next target. And then if it continues up, there's a few more levels. But again, it had that 108,000 price point that it hits back here in mid-December. So, to see Bitcoin continue up, I think is quite possible. How does that play into KULR's financials? So again, they got Navy contracts, Army, they have a SpaceX involvement where they're going to be launching batteries into space. And that's a big deal. But when you look at KULR's financials and how this could be impacted by the Bitcoin, you can see here, their net in cash negative 104,000, their net income negative 2 million. It's good increases year over year. You see 4% increase on revenue, 63% or 64% actually on net income. Net profit margins were up 65% year over year. They recently started to beat their earnings, so these financials were looking better. And then you got to ask yourself, if this is how the financials look, right? And this is what it is, and they're able to. I mean, look at their net revenue. It was 3.2 million in total when they reported earnings here back in September. And so, if they got 42 million of their shares of their money in Bitcoin, that's if Bitcoin goes to what would be 100,000, which would be about a 6% increase on their 42 million, we're looking at $16 million increase. Is that right? Or is that 1.6 million? $1.6 million increase. And that's literally half of their revenue. So Bitcoin going to 100K means they just halved their revenue here, and that's a huge deal, because what that means is they're positioning their cash to not depreciate, but to actually appreciate in multitudes that could be higher than their current revenue. And that could change that easily could shift their financials more positive. So outside of that, you see that's a big move, and I'm glad they did it. And if you look at any other news, let's see if there's any recent news that recently came out. A lot of stuff on price targets. You see that there's some bullish price targets, okay, and then we could see some bearish price targets. I don't like to listen to any of these. If KULR were to, let's say that, KULR Technology is apparently predicting 200K Bitcoin price. I'm not sure that that's correct, but I mean, we could see if there's a quote here. But that's from this Cointelegraph article. Okay, the biggest catalyst. Okay, so this is Michael Moe. Okay, so this is actually directly from the CEO. The biggest catalyst is the adoption of a strategic Bitcoin reserve by nations and states. US, Germany, Switzerland, and other countries are looking into it, he said. Okay, I didn't see him say that there's no actual quote here that says that that KULR Technology expects it to hit 200K. That's why I don't like looking at these articles. KULR Technology predicts 200K Bitcoin price. That didn't happen. So you got to be really careful, guys. Don't look at these hype articles. Try and go directly to the source. I was even skeptical to click on it in the first place. That's why, because it's not going to be right? This is literally what happens. Okay, but let's just do some math. If it hits 200K a Bitcoin, I mean, they're going to make an extra $48 billion if it hits 200K. $48 billion in assets. Not that they have liquidated, but that's a huge, I mean, that's a 20x of their current market, the money that they have right now. So that's something or not money that they have right now, but their net income. That's 20x their net income if Bitcoin were to hit 200K Bitcoin. So I like that move. I think it's a big move. Outside of that, you can look at their products. They're working on batteries to a cellular I believe on an ionic level. They aren't in every single part on a cellular level. That's where they're working. Okay, on a cellular level. This gets really interesting because a company like this, we already know that NASA, for example, is a partner of KULR. We already know NASA works on quantum computing. This past week, guys, I just went to a quantum computing. You could see this video right here where I got to see all the quantum computing companies, see the executives, talk with them, get direct questions from Microsoft, Ionic, and IBM, and they actually answered directly to my audience and the questions that we had. And I could tell you, so make sure to subscribe so you stay up to date. But I could tell you that one of the examples that they gave is that they had like 35 or 30 million data points about lithium ion batteries. They put all those data points through a CPU AI computer into a quantum computer. The quantum computer got the results down to 8 options from 30 million to 8 options. And then of those 8, they narrowed it down to one that increased the lithium batteries efficiency by 70%. And so this would be speculative for me to say, but KULR, a company that's already working with space tech and a lot of companies that are highly exposed to quantum computers, if they're here and they're in aerospace and defense, they're in drone technology, and they're working with Army on the Apache stabilization, real-time stabilization of aircrafts, and they're working batteries. If they were to apply some of the quantum tech that's going to be impacting the already advanced research they're using with GPUs and AI right now, and they're able to see that improvement, we could see rapid acceleration. Now, that's speculative, but again, you have to think about it, especially when they're close. If we go on the map and we look at where they're located to all of these companies that are being exposed to quantum computers, including NASA, then that could be potentially something that could happen. So outside of that, love to see it. They're launching that SpaceX rideshare mission. They got a lot of things coming up that are going to be interesting, especially their earnings, which we will take a look at. They got their KULR One battery here. It's a family of revolutionary battery packs that are accelerating global transition to electrification economy. And they talk about how these are designed. They show their specs because they're innovative, and so you'd want to look at that. They work on a cellular level. So the company itself in the news and the financials look good, and definitely where they are positioned. The technicals look fairly oversold, but it doesn't mean it couldn't continue down. I mean, just looking at the trend. But if you were going to buy long term, it's not even a but. Because it's lower, as a long-term investor, this looks great. As a trader, we would love to see some market open dips or something we could take advantage of on the near term, especially when we're looking at market open. We can see if I turn on the showing the data, the extended hours data, and we actually see when market opens and closes here, you could see that at market open, some of the biggest dips happen right at market open. Look at that. That's market open, big dip before recovering. And that's not just, these aren't small swings. These are dips that happen consistently. That's a 25% dip. That right there is a 20% dip. And these are all right at market open. That's a market open dip that just in a matter of a few hours recovered 17%. Now it's important to be patient and wait for the right opportunity to buy. We'll see if anything presents itself tomorrow at market open. Again, if you guys would like to watch me trade live, we have Stockmates, that second link down below. We have a sale right now that is our newest sale related to AMD for the current timeline. If you buy Stockmate, we have our New Year's sale that is already a great discount, that second link below. But take a look, because AMD, if AMD stock hits $185 a share, then you get Stockmate for free. So again, you can watch me trade live. We also got some books in there. We got some great resources from people, and also some good investors that are crushing it. We have some good investors that are doing really well, and we have some investors that are just learning right now. But if you wanted to get access to, for example, this book, Philosophy of a Profitable Trader, we go into mindset, ordinary versus profitable, risk, reward, how ordinary investors think versus profitable mindsets, the kind of my story, but also how I've been able to learn and how you can actively learn the stock market, crypto, options, and things like that. And then also some trading criteria, how to develop a plan as well. And there's some worksheets in there for you that I put together, as well as some emotional IQ resources there. And also inside of Stockmate, we go live each morning, but we also share things like this where we have our earnings and then we share price targets and what we'd expect for every stock, and we share the earnings of the week, so you know what stocks are reporting earnings, and that's always helpful to know. So again, I would encourage you guys, check out that second link down below, and I would love to see you guys there at market open. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you all. If I earned your thumbs up, hit that like button. Do consider subscribing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Oh, that AMD sale, if it hits 185 by March 20th, then you get StockMate for free. So March 20th, $185 price target. That's just an extra bonus we've thrown in there because I have some AMD calls. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.